I got record here.
Okay.
It's on. Okay.
So it is 6:02. I will call this Area Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. It's Tuesday, September 23rd. Can we get a roll call, members, please?
Yes, Andy Bailey is not here. Grant Moeller.
Here.
Took a little
I know. I was like making sure I didn't say something wrong.
Feel like we need to try that again. Okay. Stacy Pettigo.
Here.
Scott Hetzensberger is not present. Chester Benkus.
here.
Staff members Liz Stitzel and Kat Bellswell's attorney Jay Moore also present.
Okay, so go through the old minutes. Did you guys both have a chance to?
Yes. Yeah. I'd
Okay.
make a motion we approve them as presented.
I will.
Second.
Okay. Chester moved and then Stacy seconded. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Grant Moeller.
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo.
Yes.
Chester Benkus.
Yep.
3-0. Minutes are approved.
Looks like we have one application on old business.
We do,
Okay.
and it's going to be short and sweet.
Okay.
So, we continued this at the last meeting
Okay.
because we found out the day of the meeting that NDOT wanted to review it.
Okay.
The applicant has been diligent in trying to communicate with NDOT. I've had several conversations with NDOT. We're struggling with
Okay.
the sign. NDOT spoke with the applicant this morning. I spoke with NDOT yesterday, and they still had not reached a determination that worked for our ordinance and theirs, or really anything necessarily. We just haven't gotten solid feedback.
Okay.
So the applicant is requesting an additional continuance. Your board rules do allow you to do 2 continuances with the BZA
Okay.
without having to waive the rules, to allow, hopefully NDOT to actually figure out how they want to handle this particular sign and whether or not they're going to permit it. Given that the applicant, from everything Kat and I've seen, has been doing everything he can, staff would support the continuance. NDOT's also spoken with me, so I know they are working on it. It's just state level is a little slow.
Yep. Okay. Nope. That sounds good to me.
So you need a motion
Yeah.
to approve, or to continue. Motion, I make motion to continue application CC-2025-00720, docket 24-25-VA, period.
I will second that. And then roll call vote, please.
Grant Moeller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo,
Yes.
Chester Benkus.
Yep.
All right, so continued 3-0.
Okay, so now we will move on to our public hearings of the night. The first one is application number CC-2025-00821, docket number 28-25-VA. Can you please take us through that staff report?
Yes, this is the petition of Lori Calloway at 4272 South County Road 0 East West. The request is a variance to construct a pillar on each side of the driveway entrance that will sit 5 foot from the road right away instead of the normal 50-foot setback. Both the parcel in question and everything surrounding it are zoned rural residential. This is a 2-acre petition site. It's lot 2 in the M&M addition on the west side of 0 East West in section 34 of Jackson Township. It's to the southwest of the unincorporated town of Antioch and has several dwellings and some farm ground that surround it. They're requesting a 45-foot variance to put in 2 brick pillars, one on either side of the drive entrance that will sit 5 foot from the right-of-way, instead of the required 50. The brick pillars are going to be constructed from some extra bricks that were left over from building the new house that was just, I guess, bricked relatively recently, to serve as markers for the driveway entrance when there's snow, and to have those numbers etched on them. This was looked at as a variance from UDO 503.13 due to the possibility of a fence, looking at these as gate posts rather than looking at them as a yard improvement under UDO 306.04. There's a map here on the second page that shows where the property is and how it just kind of sits there on the edge of Antioch. And then there's also a picture, because there was an old property markers pillar to the north. It's north of the north neighbor's property, and it sits kind of in this same range, a little bit closer than what these brick pillars are asking to sit. On the third page, there's a picture of the driveway for the new house. showing where they would like to place these two pillars. They're kind of in line with a tree on the next property over. And you can kind of see in the distance that concrete pillar that's more in line with the telephone poles. So there's three findings that must exist in order to grant a variance. First, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. So the site is part of a 2-lot minor subdivision that recently had a new house built here. The petitioner would like to build these pillars to have markers for the driveway entrance as well as to have a house number, and both reasons are for better visibility. Mailboxes in this area, including the petition site, are on the other side of the road, so delivering packages so far, they've kind of been misappropriated just due to confusion as to where this particular address number is. And so it would appear that the pillars might actually decrease injurious situations by clarifying where the address is. And they'll also be 5 foot back from the edge of the right-of-way. And that's yet further than where the side ditch is. They will be out of the visual clearance requirements. There's not an issue there. And the closest access onto 0 from this petition site is 125 foot to the north, so there's really no issue from that driveway either with visibility lines. There is an existing pillar further north that probably dates back to the 1800s, if I was guessing, and it has never created any visual issues. And even should a fence be attached to this, as long as they don't go straight up to the road, it won't create any issues. So 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. So again, this is a rural residential area. There's a new home built here. These will be 5 foot tall, made of brick, and that should match the dwelling that the pillars go with. So it would not appear that it would affect the area in an adverse manner. The petitioner could construct pillars at the edge of the right-of-way no taller than 3 foot tall without the variance, or they could put them at 5 foot and be able to attach a fence back at the 50 foot. But neither of those options would adequately serve the purpose for which the pillars are intended, and both might look out of place in terms of how they would fit with the new dwelling. 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties. So if the request is denied, then the petitioner will need to either make the pillars smaller, move them back from the road, or not be able to attach fencing to them at any future point. So in order for them to mark the driveway entrance and have house numbers that are readable from the road on them, they would need to be placed in this location. Consequently, staff would recommend to approve the variance request with the following conditions. The pillars must stay at least 5 foot from the edge of the right-of-way and no closer. They cannot be taller than 5 foot in height. If any lighting is attached to the pillars in the future, it must meet the lighting ordinance in the UDO. And if fencing is later attached to the pillars, it cannot be taller than 4 foot in height unless the petitioner returns to the BZA for a further variance for a taller fence. And actually, there's a mistype here. It's 42 inches, not 4 feet. Wait, nope, hang on. I'm not sure where the 4 feet came from.
I don't know. You put the 4 feet in there.
Yep, so 42 inches is what the ordinance will allow in a front yard.
I thought you were just being nice.
So, no, apparently we had a typo. So if they want to put a fence that's taller up later attached to those pillars, then they would need to return to the board for that variance.
Okay, thank you. Is petitioner present and have anything to add?
I am present, yes.
Okay,
And,
okay.
the only thing I would add is, we have no plans to ever add a fence. Has money for that on a 2-acre property.
Okay,
Wait till you have a dog that you gotta keep inside.
We have the GPS fence for him.
Okay, okay.
no, I don't think there's anything really to add. I mean, as long as we are making sure those variances are, once that we approve it and meeting all those recommendations, I don't see any issue.
Okay, so how about if we move to approve it with the conditions here? I'll make a motion to approve application number CC-2025-00821, docket number 28-25-VA. According to the findings of the staff report, which are incorporated in the motion by reference with the conditions, the 4 conditions listed there, And then the fourth condition is 42 inches instead of 4 feet, as said in the first sentence there.
Okay, I will second that. And then roll call vote, please, when you get a chance.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo,
Yes.
Chester Bankus.
Yes.
All right, you are good.
Yeah, you're free to go. And
Yep,
you don't
thank
need
you.
a permit for that. Okay. You're welcome.
So we will move on to our second hearing of the night, which is application CC-2025-00841, docket number 29-25-SE. Can you please take us through that staff report?
Yes, this is the petition of Troy and Shannon Casey requesting a special exception for a private campground. Their property, as well as everything around the petition site, are zoned agriculturally. The site is a 1 acre site on the east side of East Scotland Road between State Road 38 and 400 East in section town of Kirkland Township. It's down there along Sugar Creek. The site has an existing dwelling on it that the petitioners need to completely renovate before they can reside in it. And we don't go into it a whole lot in the staff report, but it's a fairly unique, particular dwelling that has some unique engineering challenges that is gonna take a little bit for them to work through. The rear half of that site does have floodplain across it, so that was kind of an added component on the site. But they do have enough elevation on the front portion of the lot to be out of the floodplain for both potential RV and for the house to be able to be remodeled. The petitioners would like the special exception so they can have a single recreational vehicle because they would like to live in it while they're completing the renovations on the existing dwelling. Once they complete those renovations, then the RV will have to be disconnected from the septic system, and that septic system, which is new, will then connect to the dwelling, which will be a 2-bedroom home. And so this would be a temporary private campground rather than a permanent one, but since it will exceed 7 consecutive days, no more than 30 a year total, it does still have to come to the Board of Zoning Appeals for that approval. On the second page, there's a picture here that just kind of shows where this floodplain is, and you can see the house kind of right on the edge, and a picture from the road. You can see part of the house. There's actually kind of a partial 3rd story up above that too. Which is on the 3rd page of the staff report. The septic system kind of sits in that picture on the 3rd page in the open area to the right of the house. And there are 6 special exception standards that need to be examined in the process of determining whether or not to grant an approval. First, the proposed use conforms to the district provisions in which it will be located and the general regulations of the ordinance. So private campgrounds are a special exception use in the A1 district. And there are some development standards for campgrounds in general, but most of them apply to public campgrounds. Due to the length of the standards and the fact that most do not pertain to the request, they're not noted in the staff report. There are 2 that could possibly apply, found in 526.03, which talks about a minimum of 3 acres, and then the next standard further clarifies that there should be a density that does not exceed 17 recreational vehicles per acre on the gross site area. So as this request is for a single recreational vehicle, not a campground where multiple vehicles are coming to camp, only for the owner, it would appear to meet the 526.04 standard. And then staff's understanding is also this will only be temporary while the petitioners are completing renovations to the dwelling, but the ordinance only allows people to live temporarily in like a mobile home or something like that under our temporary use table, not an RV. So this has to come through on this path. 2, the proposed use shall not involve an element or cause a condition that may be dangerous, injurious, or noxious to another property or persons, and shall comply with performance standards herein. So the health department has no objections to the request and did report that a new septic system has been installed and approved that the RV can connect to during the construction of the house. But he also noted that they must disconnect the RV from it because it will be needed in its entirety to serve the dwelling once the dwelling is completed. And that works for the applicant, as their eventual hope is to live in the dwelling, not the RV. So, 3, the proposed site shall be sited, oriented, and landscaped so the relationship of its buildings and grounds to adjacent buildings and properties do not impair health, safety, or comfort, nor adversely affect values of adjacent properties. So this has a farm ground to the west. It's otherwise surrounded by woodland and water. The nearest dwelling is about a 1/4 mile away, and This is just gonna have a single RV parked there in the area next to the house. The petitioners are aware that they will have to disconnect it, and don't have an issue with that. 4, the proposed use shall produce a total environmental effect consistent with and not harmful to the environment in the neighborhood. Again, this is for only a single RV for a temporary amount of time. There's no immediate neighbors that like have an immediate view there from their houses of this site. There is a septic approval during the time of renovation, so the request would seem to meet the standard. 5, the proposed use shall organize vehicular access and parking to minimize conflicting traffic movement on adjacent streets. So there's plenty of room for the required off-street parking here. And finally, the proposed use shall promote the objectives of the ordinance and be consistent with the comprehensive plan. So there is not a specific objective concerning campgrounds in the 2012 comprehensive plan, but there is a general land use mission statement that talks about promoting balanced quality development in a planned manner designed to retain Clinton County's rural and agricultural character. With proper perimeters put in place, the request for a single RV for a private campground while the house is being constructed for a temporary use would not appear to contradict that goal in the comp plan. So consequently, staff recommends to approve the request for a private campground with the following conditions. Before a final certificate of occupancy can be issued, the health department must sign off that the RV is no longer connected to the septic and the dwelling has instead been connected. And this request is only approved until a final certificate of occupancy is issued for the dwelling, at which point the approval will expire. And if the petitioners wish to extend or reacquire it at a later point, they will then need to return to the board for a new approval.
Okay. Does the petitioner have anything to add?
No, I appreciate.
Would you mind going to the mic? I forgot to do that on the first
Oh,
one.
sure.
Thank you. Just state your name, please.
My name is Shannon Casey. I don't have anything to add, except I appreciate all the work that obviously has gone into that. Just preparing the information that's needed for this to be considered.
Okay, thank you. I think that's pretty straightforward. If I was then to live there, live in the RV temporarily, they fix up the house, and I don't see any real issue with it.
It looks like a very nice residence and does need some tender loving care. So it's,
Very excited.
it's,
Yeah, it's gonna be an adventure, but we're,
and it's a beautiful location too. And
Yes.
it's one way to build up Clinton County and make it look prettier and more attractive. So
I think it's neat that this house is being reclaimed
There
and
you go.
thank you. We've
Yeah.
worked for something like this for many, many years, and we're very happy. I know that there's been a challenge at times there, and we're excited.
great.
For anyone listening online, the petitioner just responded that they're very, very excited about restoring the house.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve application number CC-2025-00841, docket number 29-25-SE. According to the findings of the staff report, which are incorporated in the motion by reference with the conditions that are listed on the staff report, the 2 conditions.
I'll second that. Roll call vote when you get a chance, please.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigrew,
Yes.
Chester Backus.
Yes.
Okay, 3-0, we're good. So you can go ahead and hook that up. You don't need a permit for the RV, just this. And then as you get through
For the renovation.
for the renovations, we need a permit.
Yeah, we
But the
haven't gotten
RV does
started.
not need a
No,
permit.
no.
So, you've already got your septic signed off on, so that would have been the thing we would have been concerned to verify.
Okay, okay, thank you again.
Yep, thank you.
And then just get in touch when you're ready on the permitting for the building.
Okay, will do. So I do that when we have plans drawn up, correct, for us to move forward? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to our next application, which is application number CC-2025-00855, docket number 30-25-SE.
Yeah, so this one, due to the fault of staff, not the applicant, this is a petition requesting a special exception for a Class 2 home occupation is what it should be, to operate a vehicle repair commercial garage secondary to a house. But we ended up advertising it in the paper as a commercial garage, which is a prohibited use in the A1 district and we can't hear.
Okay.
Versus a special exception. So having talked with Jay, we feel that we need to re-advertise that in the paper properly. I mean, nobody seemed to come tonight, but just in case, like, that's the proper thing to do. But we did want to see if the board would be willing to waive their rules to not require us to re-notify neighbors. We can change the note of the type of hearing on the sign out there, and then we will re-advertise in the newspaper at our expense and be ready to hear this next month.
No.
You know, I also had a thought that next time we look at our rules, maybe we should consider that after the first, if we need to send out notice a second time, it does not have to be certified mail, it's just ordinary mail.
It's an idea, unless something about the situation warrants, because I know
Yeah.
we have had once or twice in the past where something has happened where we have chosen to renotice, but not very often.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, fine by me. And what, obviously these two.
Yeah, we would need a vote to waive
Yep.
the rules,
Yep.
And so,
and then a vote to continue, obviously, too.
Okay.
so the zoning notice is there, and they've been notified that it's changing. Do they know what it's changing to?
So neighbors would have received letters that said it was a commercial garage. It's actually a more intense use than if it was permitted by any way in the A1 district, than what a home occupation is. The newspaper also says commercial garage, as does the sign. So we would redo the newspaper, which is the state law requirement
Okay.
for procedure, to change it to home occupation, just in case.
To operate as
Yeah.
a commercial.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and then, if, assuming you waive the rules, we would not send new notices to neighbors. Obviously, if any of them had come being concerned about a commercial garage, they would
Yeah.
have discovered that we
Right.
were continuing this potentially. But we would go out and change the sign to read home occupation, so it reads correctly, and change the date to next month.
Okay, so the thought process is, since commercial garage is such a more intense application to that area, they'd be more concerned about the commercial garage than what they would the other way that we're phrasing it.
That is the logic, and it's like $7 and some odd cents a letter to send, certified mail to
Actually,
receive.
it's over 10.
Oh, is it over 10 now? It's fairly expensive to resend the letters, and they're not a state law requirement, they're a local noticing
And-
requirement, so.
And they will know the date change mainly because of the public notification changing its date, is that right?
Are you talking about the newspaper notice?
Well, you'd have a newspaper, okay. where
The
you're
newspaper
going-
notice is because we technically haven't met the state law requirement, because we
Okay.
didn't properly advertise the right type of hearing.
Okay.
Do we need to make a motion or we just vote on it?
Does it get
Oh, he's still
changed
there.
on the sign that's out front?
We'll go out and change the sign.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You can do it as, well, I think in this case, you can do it as one motion to waive the rules to
Okay.
continue, and have office staff re-notice through the paper and on the sign, but waive the rules for mailings, or you can do two separate.
Let's just do
And
one.
if you want to continue, do we want to even say we can continue 3 times? Because if this takes one away from their 2, if they need to continue.
I think this case is in court. I think we probably want to determine whether or not we want to further continue it
Okay.
when we come to the next
Okay,
board meeting.
it's good enough. Sure.
So it would be my recommendation. We aren't missing any other information that I'm aware of that would create, but you can always waive your rules at a future point to continue a third time if something in the process of hearing when the
Right.
applicant is here causes you to believe you need that.
Okay.
So tonight you're looking for a waiver of the notification as you.
You'd be waiving the board rules requiring neighbor notification for not requiring staff to renotice, but you'd be asking us to redo the newspaper notice properly and
The sign.
change the sign to be accurate, and then you'd be making a motion to continue
All right.
versus hearing it tonight.
Make a motion what she just said.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. I'd like to make the motion of what you just said to do regarding the waiving of the board rules for the notification to the neighbors, but still putting it in the paper and changing the public sign.
And then
I'm
roll.
gonna write this out and then I'm gonna read it back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got a motion to continue the case due to improper notice. Staff must repost in newspaper and change sign. And that motion includes a motion to waive the board rules, to waive sending letters to the neighbors again.
I'll second. And roll call vote when you get a chance.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Stacy Pedigo,
Yes.
Chester Bing.
Yep.
So that is
Okay. Any new business?
no new business.
Okay. Our next meeting is October 28th, 2025. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Are we going to meet here again, or we don't know?
We don't know. We'll let you know where